Everyone, thank you for being here on such a inclement day. Probably a little bit inappropriate for what we're doing here today, but we'll go with it. I'd like to first of all thank all our sponsors. Give a broad thank you to all our sponsors that helped us with this event. Solaris, Focus on Energy, Department of Energy, Heart of Wisconsin Chamber of Commerce, UW Extension, Midwest Renewable Energy Association, NRail, Northwind, and Mid-State Technical College. So thank you all very much. If you'd like to give them a round of applause for these speakers. I'll start my remarks by saying this is far and away the most exciting thing that I've done as the Wood County Chair today. I have looked forward to this event for a long time. Today we begin a new chapter in the history of Wood County. And we do that by embracing a technology that will help us become fiscally stronger. We will be embracing a technology that will improve our public health. And we will embrace a technology that will help us to improve our workforce development. And finally, we will embrace a technology that will help us become more resilient in the face of ever-growing climatic chaos. Thanks to strong and effective leadership and progressive thinking by our Renewable and Sustainables Committee, our Highway Infrastructure and Recreation Committee, and our Executive Committee, this project, in conjunction with our SolSmart Gold designation and the proposed 150 megawatt solar facility in Saratoga, will ensure that Wood County remains at the forefront of photovoltaic in the state of Wisconsin. That being said, we have several speakers that want to talk to you this morning about the process and things that have taken place. I'm sorry to say that the Lieutenant Governor could not make it. He was invited. He has another engagement and that prevented him from being here. With that being said, our chairman of our HERC committee could not be here, so representing the HERC committee this morning is former board chairman and current president of the Wisconsin County Association, Lance Pliml.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I probably could have left this at home because we're going to thank everybody, and Doug kind of set the tone already today. I guess where I wanted to start today is on behalf of the Highway Infrastructure and Recreation Committee, which oversees our parks, on behalf of the state of Wisconsin for having these outdoor recreation grant opportunities, and maybe most importantly for the residents of Wood County who recognize the value of recreation in our park system, which is a jewel among those park systems of the state. We certainly, as Chairman Hahn mentioned, we recognize the need to advance technologically, to leverage those dollars saved, and to move forward. So, without thanking everybody who's going to be thanked again, I guess particularly I'd like to thank our Park and Forestry Director, Chad Schooley, who's here and helped drive this program, as well as our Facilities Manager, Ruben Van Tassel. There are a lot of other people thanked, but they're at the forefront of this project moving forward. So as we look to increase the recreational opportunities in this county, our tourism, and all of those different types of activities that drive economic development, again, I want to reiterate what Chairman Hahn said. We say thank you to all involved, and we look forward to this being the first step in some much larger projects that Wood County is going to be involved in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance. Next we have the chairman of our Renewables and Sustainables Committee. That's a committee that we established last year during the budget process, and they were very instrumental in this display being built and the idea coming forward for it. That chairman is Supervisor Jake Hahn. Jake?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's great to see so many people here today. I didn't think we'd get this much of a turnout. And it's really great to see a project like the solar panels here at NEPCO go online. As soon as these panels go online, they're immediately going to start saving the taxpayers of Wood County money. And they're going to continue to do so for the next 25 to 30 years, which it really amounts to a lot of savings over the lifetime of these panels. And we're here today also in recognition of our SolSmart Gold designation. SolSmart Gold will allow all the citizens, the municipalities within the county, to get the best possible prices on solar panels and the best grants and discounts. So hopefully that'll spark some solar panel growth in the county. A tremendous amount of work went into both the solar panels outside and the SolSmart Gold designation, so I'd just like to take a second to recognize two of the people who I think were just instrumental and deserve the lion's share of the credit for these two projects. The first is Nancy Turk. She's in the back there if you want to give a wave. Nancy has just worked tirelessly since coming on board the county. The county is extremely lucky to have her. She kept the ball rolling on both projects, and I don't think we'd be here today without her. And the second person I'd like to thank is Chairman Hahn. Without Doug's vision, we wouldn't be here celebrating these solar panels today. There'd be no SolSmart Gold designation, and I don't think there'd even be a Renewable and Sustainable Committee. So if we could give a round of applause to Doug also, I think he really deserves it. And that's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Now we're going to get to the people that were very instrumental in the building of this solar array. From Northland Solar, Mr. Doug Stingle.
Hi, good morning everyone. I'm really honored and excited to be here today to celebrate Wood County's new solar array. I'm going to be a little bit redundant here because I do have to thank some people as well, because without these folks this project wouldn't have happened. First I'd like to thank Chad Schooley from the Parks Department. Chad has been fantastic to work with and been really just a solid guy to be able to work through this process with. Anytime we had questions, anything that came up, Chad worked through with us to the point of helping me here on Monday getting this thing up and running. So this solar array is operating right now. It is producing energy. It's not producing a whole lot of energy right now, but it is producing energy. Even on days like today, it is producing energy. I'd like to thank Ruben Van Tassel from the maintenance department. He has been also instrumental. He kind of helped put us all together here. And of course, Mr. Hahn, the county board chair, who has been kind of the driving force behind all of this. And all of the staff that went into this that might not be here today, or I'm not naming them personally. One I can think of right now is Dennis from the maintenance department, who last week was with me as we were out there applying stickers in 10-degree weather. As one of us held the sticker in her hand to get it warm, and the other one put our hand on the metal so that the sticker would actually stick. The dedication of the staff and working with this amazing team has been fantastic, and I can't thank all of you enough. Also like to thank Mr. Hyland, Nick Hyland in the back, and the Midwest Renewable Energy Association for putting together a Central Wisconsin Group Buy program. That Central Wisconsin Group Buy program was one of the most successful in the history of this state, and Northwind was lucky enough to be the contractor on that, and this project is part of that Central Wisconsin Group Buy program. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank Mr. Ben Nusz in Mid-State Technical College. A lot of our staff that is doing the installations on these systems have been trained at Mid-State Technical College, and they're a really valuable resource that really provides us with the skilled workforce to be able to put these installations in. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of details about what the solar array is, right? What's actually out there? So we've got 24 solar modules which produce DC or direct current power. They come into an inverter which switches it over to AC power, which is what we use in our buildings and homes. And that's going to be used to power this facility. And then the restroom facility as well. So when there's not enough power, we're pulling it from the Alliant energy grid, and when there's excess power being produced by the solar array, it's going to go back out to the grid and spin that meter backwards and develop a credit for the county. So the solar array is expected to produce about 9,700 kilowatts in year one, but what does that really mean? What that really means is, to put it in very modern equivalencies, that is 874,653 smartphone charges. So it's a pretty impressive amount of power that can come out of there, and it's going to reduce the CO2 emissions of burning 7,500 pounds of coal. So that's a pretty amazing thing. There is also one unique feature that's going to be on this array, and that's a secure power supply. So it's going to provide a little bit of resiliency in the event that the grid goes down. There is one outlet out there that can provide some power, so it's not a you know, an ultimate solution, but it is something there that could be a help in a situation like that. But this solar power system is so much more than just the equipment that creates the clean electricity. It's a great example of local government leading the way. Solar power is an opportunity for local governments to lead by producing their own clean energy and protecting the county against rising electricity costs for the next 30 years. Perhaps most importantly, we face a changing climate that is influenced heavily by our reliance on burning fossil fuels. But clean solar power is a real and tangible way for local government to lead us into a brighter future. Once again, thanks to Wood County for their leadership in growing Wisconsin's clean energy economy, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you, Doug. One of the rewarding advantages as we went through this project for me was the collaboration that began to build between us and Midstate. And we realized early on that there were some real advantageous things for the county, for workforce development, for other areas that would have very positive effects for everyone in the county. And so here today, representing Midstate Technical College is Mr. Ben Nusz.
Thanks, Doug. So I was brought into this project actually just in September. They said, can you lend us a little technical expertise? And so I met with the committee, and here it is in November, and the thing's installed, right? So anyone that thinks that our county and local municipal governments can't be quick, can't act fast, can't be decisive, and be responsive to the local community, like, here's an exclamation point that proves otherwise. I want to thank two people that actually aren't here, Dane Curley and Justin Leszewski, two of my students that graduated through our program and represented 2/3 of the installers that helped put this together. At Midstate, we really want to be responsive to our local community, to our local industry partners. The U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics predicts that the #1 fastest growing job in the country from 2016 to 2026 is going to be solar installers. So we're happy to have a program here that trains for this new workforce, as we can see. So congratulations on this new solar installation. Hopefully it's one of many more to come.
Thank you, Ben. Now, one of the guys that got on board very early with this, and he's kind of a low-key guy, but I could tell that he was pretty excited about this stuff. And he kind of was in his wheelhouse, but he didn't want to show it too much. But as he became more involved, he was more and more helpful, and you could tell how much he loved being engaged in the project. And he was a key player in the project and getting it here where it is today. So our Parks Director, Schooley.
All right, thank you very much. Doug is very correct. I am very low-key, and he had to twist my arm hard to be up here right now. But I do want to thank a few individuals, especially our staff. So a park like this, our park system, as Supervisor Pliml had mentioned, it doesn't happen by coincidence. There's a lot of staff, a lot of hardworking individuals that put a lot of effort into that. So the park that you see, all of our other parks that you see, they really are top-notch, and it's due to our maintenance staff in a lot of respects. So I want to thank a few of those individuals right now. So our maintenance staff, full-time staff here out at NEPCO, as well as Southwood County Park. The lead maintenance worker is Brad O'Donnell, and another full-time maintenance worker is Jesse Castoli. So they do a great job maintaining and upkeeping these parks. In addition, and I know he was mentioned already, but Dennis Quinnell, he's a construction supervisor out of our office, and he assisted with some of the project here, but he also does a great job. So just want to mention those individuals. I also want to, because it was obviously a very large part of this project, but Doug Stingle and his team did an excellent job. As he was saying, you know, the project went very quickly and very smoothly, and that doesn't always happen with contracted work. So Thank you and excellent work out there. I also want to thank the Sustainable and Renewable Committee. Obviously, that committee, if it wasn't in place and the funding wasn't there, this project probably would not happen. So I'm very happy and fortunate that this was basically their first large project in the county. Relatively, you look at that and you do see a lot larger structures, a lot bigger displays, but I think it is really just a seed that hopefully will grow in the future with solar and different alternative energy uses. Just a little bit about this shelter building. I know a lot of you have probably been in here before, but it was constructed 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. Very popular. It is open year-round. It's our only year-round shelter building that we've got. Over the last 3 years, we average 120 reservations in here. So it's quite busy throughout the year, primarily in our summer months, but we do have a fair amount that trickle in the fall and winter and spring months as well. So the 40%, estimated 40% annual offset of our energy bill is obviously going to pay dividends in the future. So we're looking forward to that as well. And then the last piece I want to just mention is, because it is relatively a small structure, but I think there's a lot of educational value there. And one of the pieces that we're able to do, and we just I logged in just yesterday to the website that shows real-time energy production. And I think that's something that we'll probably put on our website or some sort of promotional area where people can log on and see, on a daily basis how much energy is being produced. So I think that's a nice feature as well, and hopefully, possibly some local schools would catch on to that and have some sort of learning aspect to that as well. So that's about all I've got. Thank you.
Thanks, Chad. I need to silence my phone, I forgot. I want to ring when somebody's talking. Last speaker here, before we do the ribbon cutting, representing Midwest Renewable Energies Association. This guy's been involved with solar for a long time. He is here, and we are honored to have him today to present our SolSmart plaque, Mr. Nick Hyla.
I had Nancy come up here because she's really responsible for this, and the plaque's so pretty, and you're dressed so nice today. So my name's Nick. It's an honor to be here. Wood County joins Wisconsin Rapids and 25 other jurisdictions in Wisconsin and hundreds of jurisdictions nationally that have aligned themselves with this national standard. It's called SolSmart. The general concept is as such: if this Wood County was sitting on a natural gas reserve, it would be in your best interest to properly plan for the use of that gas reserve, to minimize conflicts between neighbors, to provide sustainable economic development opportunities, and to really attract business growth to the county that can adequately use that resource while protecting your natural resources. We all sit on a solar resource, and that resource is growing rapidly across the country. Right now, if you look at all of the planned utility projects in Wisconsin, so what electric utilities are building, there are over 7 gigawatts of projects. It's a lot of projects. 92% are solar, wind, and energy storage. 79% are solar. You in Wood County are familiar with the conflicts that can arise with inadequate planning. And so the forward-thinking folks at the county, Nancy and Doug, looked at the standard and said, we see throughout the future this opportunity for local solar development. The one proposed project right now, 150 megawatt project, if it's built, will provide north of $300,000 of revenue per year to the county, one solar project. So you can see that. You can imagine the effect that might have on road maintenance, on investment in county parks and infrastructure. So this is a real opportunity, and the opportunity is that these things require land use. They require planning. They require electrical infrastructure. They require stakeholder engagement. They require local review and being proactive as part of this process. And SolSmart will allow this county to really engage. So I congratulate you all for doing that. Doug, would you like to come up and receive this beautiful plaque from SolSmart? Would you please give the county a big round of applause?
Thank you, Nick. I have a different list to pull from. In regards to the SolSmart designation, which was a lot of hard work in itself, I want to recognize and thank the Executive Committee for their progressive thinking, the HERC Committee again, Highway Infrastructure and Recreation Committee, and also Planning and Zoning. All three of those committees were instrumental in getting us started down the road for the SolSmart designation. In particular, within that group, I would like to thank and recognize Nancy Turek, Jason Gruenberg. Please raise your hand and be acknowledged. You guys were very important. Our facilities manager, Ruben Van Tassel, and Chad Schooley. Those four individuals worked tirelessly on this, and believe me, it was not all easy. It was very arduous at times, but they were dedicated, and today we got it done. Also, a big thank you to Northland, especially Doug Stingle. So we did a lot of work, and we are very proud of what we've accomplished, and we look forward to much more with the help of our partners, our now established partners, and in the words of George Harrison, here comes the sun. We would invite anybody that has an umbrella or feels up to it to come out and join us in a ribbon cutting at the solar array outside.
I'll let you know when you're done. Okay. Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Now you can cut. Okay, now,
Now I can cut?
Yeah, you can cut now.
Ready? Are you
Go
ready?
ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, you can keep all the ribbons.
My wife might want that.
I'll enjoy it.